Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure today of speaking to Anthony Willis, composer and creative person behind the fantastic film, Promising Young Woman, playing here at the Sundance Film Festival 2020. Anthony, say hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure, honestly, it really is. After hearing the score and comparing it to the film, it seems like your music tends to lead the action going on the screen. Was that something that you intended to do, or something that the director made a choice on?
I think the whole film, as a lot of people are talking about after the premiere last night, the whole film Emerald's really playing with the audience in terms of the genre that they're in, and you know, the part of this whole narrative of this film is about perception and how things can be seen in different ways. And so partly, at times, the score's job is to actually, lead the audience into, no, it's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, which of course is part of the prevailing problem in the culture that the film is about. So yes, very much the score is intended to lead the audience and play with the audience, and sometimes in a conventional way, and especially with the romantic element, and so yes, very much.
I like that. That's one of the elements of that particular score that I really, really enjoyed. I was looking at your past works as well, trying to prepare for this, and you've done a lot of work for video games. How different is it doing video game work from working with movies?
They're similar in a way and very different in others. Obviously, one of the things I love about films is that the films have an inherent structure and a narrative that, there's certain real estate within the movie. It's a linear experience for the audience. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say that a great movie is a linear experience in its consumption, but ultimately will live with you in a very circular way, but a video game obviously is something that you play in and sort of consume, and it can go on and on into multiple places. So that's really cool in its own way, but there's something about movies that's fantastic because they're really they have this shape and this arc, and the challenge is to how to put your foot on the gas in some areas and pull it off in others, and that's something I really love about the filmmaking process.
All right. See, that's the kind of insight I wanted to hear. It's so interesting because video games, as you said, are so hands-on, and you never know what direction that you're going to go in because you get total control. Whereas a movie, you kind of understand that. That's a really interesting insight. I like hearing that. Now, I was looking into all this, and who are some of the composers that inspire you to want to make compositions and to write music?
I've been really lucky in all my interactions with other composers and musicians throughout my life, right back to when I was a chorister in England. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a sort of very old time cathedral choir tradition where young boys and girls, when their voices are angelic, will go and sing, and it's a wonderful aspect of British and English culture. And so that's where I got my sort of early training, and I was singing some of the world's most beautiful choral music every day, and I think that dose just wanted me to recreate that feeling in my own music and try to figure out how to do that. And I'm still trying, but it's so that was really my introduction to music. And then throughout my life, I've been lucky to be surrounded by really fantastic music making. And when I moved to LA, met some of the really fantastic composers working in Hollywood, like Harry Gregson Williams, and ultimately John Powell, who really has sort of gave me the confidence to do this. So he's been a very big inspiration, and not just as a composer, but also just as a friend and mentor.
Yeah, I see that you're from England, obviously, but it says here you did go to USC. How did that happen? How does this English boy end up in the big city?
So I studied composition at Bristol University, and then I think, like a lot of people who come out of college, was like, oh my gosh, how can I possibly, I mean, music is very competitive. It's a very small industry compared to most, and was looking at, how can I do this for a living? And, well, I mean, not even that. How can I get better at this? How can I not even make money doing this, but how can I actually be a part of this? And I found, I think, just online, this course at USC where it seemed to be the closest thing to a pathway, a career pathway into film music. Of which there really isn't one, but this was a way to get to LA and to immerse myself in connections in the business. And I was very lucky. I worked hard, and I managed to sort of move that into the next step.
Oh, nice! I like that. I love how far your journey's come. From that to to college, and now to scoring this massive film that's going to be a humongous hit. I do wonder though, what if you? I'm going to give you a couple softballs to end. If you had to pick a favorite score, something that you would listen to and you just think that is cinema, what would be it?
Gosh, that's a great question, and one I think all composers ought to be more prepared for. I mean, I loved when I was younger. I mean, one of my very first sort of moments where I really took notice of film music and was like, wow, that's a thing that somebody does, was The Lion King. And just the majesty of it, and, the sort of classical the tradition of it, how this sort of pride of lions was imbued with such majesty and this sense of tradition. I mean, of course, The Lion King is sort of loosely based on Shakespeare, so it sort of inherently has this very classical narrative. But I was so taken by that. And, I mean, more recently, but right before I moved to LA, the How to Train Your Dragon score that John Powell wrote, which, then obviously became a huge part of my life. Working under him on the second and third films, and then more recently the How to Train Your Dragon holiday special.
Which I like all three. Those are all really, really fun, and the scores are so sweeping, and they really get you in the mood of what's happening. I want to thank you for that. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, so to answer your question, what would I like to be involved in? I mean, I'm in the rare situation of, they're very much John scores, but just even being a small part of those, and then getting to release my soundtrack for the holiday special is very much living that dream. And that is something I think we strive for these things, and I think so often in life you don't get what you're striving for, but you get something else along the way. And that's the beauty of the way that life unfolds. But I did get what I was striving for, which is a very rare and wonderful thing. So yeah, I mean,
I completely agree.
I
think you worked really hard to get to that point, though, and I think that's the lesson to take out of this, is that if you work extremely hard and you learn as much about your craft as you can, that you can achieve whatever that goal is. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that luck is a huge factor. I think if you're too set on a goal, just the reality of fate and how the universe works, I mean, at least as far as I know, it is impossible to control those things. You can apply energy so much in one direction, and through factors completely outside your control, that could not happen. But hopefully something else will happen for you that's wonderful. You'll learn something from it. So, I think for me, it's hard work, but, a lot of luck and not letting go when you have the chance to do something special, I think is really important,
I totally agree. I think something really awesome happened here today, and I really thank you for speaking with me, even if it's for only 10 minutes. So thank you so much, Anthony.
No, of course, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome,
you, William.
everybody. This has been Anthony Willis, composer on Promising Young Woman. Look out for that movie when it hits, and debut on here, Sundance 2020. Have a great day, Anthony.
Awesome. Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.